Hello, welcome to No Cold War Perspectives. My name is Vijay Prashad. I'm a member of the No Cold War Collective. Very happy to be with you. Joining me today is John Ross, also a member of the No Cold War Collective. We are a collective built around a statement that is opposed to the intensification of conflict in the world. We seek a world of peace, and we hope very much you will join us to advocate for peace rather than war around the world. Right now, the principal issue on the table is the possibility of a ceasefire in the Ukraine region. It's a very important debate and discussion taking place across Europe, also in other parts of the world. At No Cold War Perspectives, this being our opening episode, a 10-minute quick discussion on a issue of compelling interest around the world. I think it's important, John, that you start us off talking about the possibility of peace talks, which are going to be discussed by US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Saudi Arabia. About time, right, John, that these talks or the talks toward the peace talks, about time that this is something quite serious and would happen.
Yeah, certainly. This war should never have happened. This war should never have happened. I mean, if the United States had responded to Russia's positions such as that Ukraine should not be a member of NATO, the war would not have happened. It could also have been brought to an end very soon after it started, when with a deal roughly along the not even more, we may say, more pro-Ukraine than the one which is on the table at the present time. That was sabotaged by the United States via Boris Johnson. So yes, it's about time we have a discussion about negotiations for peace. But I think we should also judge what Trump is trying to do with this, because it's a combination of a discussion which has taken place in the United States, which is that the views of people like Mearsheimer and other people who are around Trump think it was a huge mistake for the United States to have a simultaneous fight with Russia and China, and that it's got to find some way to split Russia and China. And I think we can make a very good comparison going back, looking at your article on reverse Kissinger. By the late 1960s, the United States was aware that it was going to lose the Vietnam War. That is, the combination of the Vietnamese people, the Soviet Union, and China had proved itself in Vietnam to be more stronger than the United States. And the United States therefore wanted to know, how can we get out of this situation and cut our losses in Vietnam and improve our strategic position? And what it decided to do with the leadership of Kissinger was to intervene, to attempt to exacerbate the Sino-Soviet split at that time, with Nixon's visit to Beijing. And the aim was to, as the combination of the Soviet Union plus China in this with Vietnam had proved stronger than the US, it was necessary to split the forces against them. And this was very successful with Kissinger. And of course, once the United States could take on its enemies one by one, we know the disastrous end which came in that, which was the collapse of the Soviet Union. In this case, what Trump, and we know this perfectly well, not merely from working it out, but what the people around him write is, it's that they want to try to do the reverse. In this case, to try to form an alliance with Russia, because the Soviet Union no longer exists, against China. And this is because in the Ukraine war, the combination of the Russian army, which is supported by the Russian people and the Russian state in this case, China and the global South, because the global South has refused to go along with the economic sanctions with the United States, that the combination of these three forces has proved itself to be stronger than the United States. So the United States concludes it's got to get out of this situation and try to divide them up. Therefore, it's prepared to make, indicating that it's prepared to make some concessions to Russia. The ones that Hegseth spilled the beans on, although everybody knows they're on the table anyway, privately, is Ukraine should not be part of NATO. Now that Russia will certainly not give up the troops, the ground which it was the war has been fought over. That is the unity, the the old 1991 borders of the Ukraine will not be maintained. There will have to be some lifting of sanctions against Russia, and Trump will try to extract certain concessions from Russia about this. Kellogg spilled the beans also in his meeting, saying he put the question of Iran, North Korea as issues that will have to be discussed. He didn't mention the question of China, but everybody knows that actually China would be the biggest one of these, and that the United States is therefore going to try to create splits in this situation so it can attack people. And the United States then wants a free hand to attempt to deal with other people that it would like to get rid of, so that it get a free hand in the Western Hemisphere, deal with Cuba, in the future deal with Venezuela, deal different with Brazil. It's carrying out rather aggressive actions, or in rhetoric at least, in some sanctions against South Africa, and in general possibly more with an attack on Iran. It doesn't probably, it will have a secret list, may not have worked it all out. That's what it wants in return. So Trump is trying to bring about a big change in world politics. Whether it will succeed or not is a different thing, of course, to the question of trying it.
Well, that's the reverse Kissinger strategy. In about a minute or so, maybe 2 minutes, John, do you think it is possible that the reverse Kissinger strategy that the Trump administration is going to try will in fact be able to divide Russia and China, which have now created a strategic alliance between them? Do you think a reverse Kissinger could succeed?
We have to look at this. There's going to be very difficult decisions and very complicated decisions that will have to be taken by the leadership of Russia and by the question of China. From the point of view of Russia, obviously, bringing the war to an end, having NATO not in the Ukraine, having the Russians speaking part of the Ukraine de facto, or not made de facto, de jure, become part of Russia and get rid of the sanctions, that's very big gains, and they will doubtless wish to have them. On the other hand, they must understand that if the United States were able to successfully attack China, then the United States will turn around and attack Russia immediately afterwards. And there are certainly people in Russia who are quite intelligent enough and can work that out. From the point of view of China, China's position has been that it refused to go along with the West and isolate Russia during the Ukraine war. It quite rightly said that the expansion of NATO was the real big cause of the war. It therefore refused to isolate it also from the global South, because there's a dispute whether 2 or no global South countries went along with the US sanctions. So you have the agreement between China, Russia, and the global South. And China has maintained that position very constantly, trying to bring the war to an end, and its position will have been vindicated by this, because it's obvious that the aggression in Ukraine has failed. The United States will want to try to get both Russia and China to limit their relations with the global South. It's because that's the third bigger factor in the situation. They would like them not to resist very much US attacks on the global South. So there's going to be some very difficult issues, very key strategic questions. This is a trial of Trump, what he's trying to do. We will have to see what the most powerful factors in the world, which is China, Russia, and the global South, confronted with this. This is going to be a very important issue. Trump's trying. We don't yet know what the outcome will be.
We don't know what the outcome will be. Trump is going to try and break the alliance between Russia, China, and in different ways, the global South. This is a very compelling approach to what's happening, this analysis that is coming to you from No Cold War. You must go to our website, nocoldwar.org, where you'll learn more about the reverse Kissinger strategy. It's not guaranteed to succeed, but it's what the Trump administration is trying to do. They're not just foolish people, they have an agenda. This is the first episode of No Cold War Perspectives. You were listening to John Ross. My name is Vijay Prashad.